Today we'll be going over the proper way to use a 5-way test kit to test for chlorine, pH, acid demand, and alkalinity. Each test kit has a fill line for chlorine, pH, and the alkalinity. We'll start by testing the pH. We begin by adding 2 drops of the number 4 reagent, which is the chlorine neutralizer, and then swirling the solution. Swirling without spilling does take some practice, but we will go over how to do it without spilling later in the video. Next, we add 5 drops of the number 2 pH test reagent. We then will use a white card that this test kit comes with to compare our results. As you can see, the test result is high. It's about 8.2, and we want to be in ideal range, which is 7.4 to 7.6. We will now test for acid demand using the number 3 reagent. We add a single drop at a time and swirl. This will lighten the pH test reading. We'll do this until we get to the range that we want, which is again 7.4 to 7.6. We have now added 2 drops and we're swirling, comparing our results. The test is now showing about 7.5. We would like to get to 7.4 to give us a little bit more room before we fall out of range. So we'll add a 3rd drop and swirl again. The 3rd drop brought our pH down to 7.2, which is too acidic to be within range. So we'll keep in mind we use 2 drops to keep us within ideal range. We'll then look at the acid demand chart and remember that we use 2 drops and compare the size of the pool. This pool is about 20,000 gallons and 2 drops equals 1 quart of acid that should be added to get our pH into range. After each test, be sure to rinse out the test block completely to make sure that your results are accurate. Next, we'll be testing for chlorine by filling the vial up to the indicated line and adding 5 drops of the number 1 reagent. Remember to use a white card behind the testing block to give you the best results. As you can see, the chlorine is about 0.6, which is not within the ideal range of 2 to 3. There is no test for chlorine demand, so you'll have to learn the body of water in order to know how much chlorine to add to bring you up to the ideal range. We'll now be testing for alkalinity by lining the water up with the line on the pH side that indicates alkalinity. Just like with pH, we start with 2 drops of the number 4 reagent, which will neutralize out the chlorine. We then add 1 drop of the number 5 alkalinity test reagent and swirl. Again, we place the white card behind the testing block so that we get the most accurate results. The way this test is performed is by adding a certain number of the number 3 test reagent to the blue solution until it turns clear. We start by adding 5 drops of the number 3 reagent and swirling. Since the color has not started to change, we will add 5 more drops of the number 3 reagent. Since we've gotten to 10 drops without the color shifting, we'll add 2 drops and swirl. As you can see, the color did shift slightly, so now we'll add 1 drop and swirl. The color is now clear, and we added 13 drops, which means that our alkalinity is at 130. The ideal range for alkalinity is between 80 and 120. As I mentioned earlier in the video, swirling does take practice, but luckily the test kit does come with 2 different caps, one for the pH side and one for the chlorine side. This will make it so you can swirl the solutions without spilling. Thank you so much for watching. We hope this video was informative for you, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us.